Hello and welcome to the Free Cheese episode 658. I'm your Joe Dix, joined by Matt Sellner.
Hello.
The Free Cheese is a weekly video game podcast about video games brought to you once a week by thefreecheese.com. This week we're coming to you from the top of the ropes. I hate when people do that, and I just did that. Sorry. That's like new Spider-Man movies swinging into theaters this year. It's not. And we're not. And I apologize for my statement. But we are going to talk about WWE SmackDown versus Raw 2007 specifically. More on that later. Matt, have you ever been to a live in-person wrestling show?
Yeah, I've been to quite a few.
Ooh. When was your first one? Which era?
WCW. I don't remember the show or if it was a house show, but I do remember like it was the Sting Hogan era.
Okay. Yeah, it's pretty good. How many have you been to total?
A good bit. Probably more in the last 8 years of my life than as a child.
Yeah.
Funny enough, but I've been to quite a few. I've been to a Royal Rumble.
Right, I remember that.
I've also, I went to, oh, God, what was one of the hardcore ones? I forget the name
Hell
of
in
it.
a Cell or whatever?
No, it wasn't Hell in a Cell. Whatever. Anyway, I was going to say I got to see a cash-in live at that show.
Money in the Bank? Is that the one?
So it was the Money in the Bank briefcase was involved, but the briefcase was already with Brock Lesnar, and he cashed it in at this show against Seth Rollins. God, I can't remember the name of that show. Anyway.
I'm surprised I remembered Money in the Bank. That came from our Free Cheese Wrestling days. That's where that one came from.
Yes, yeah.
Pulling that out. I think the only one to date that I've been to is the stuff...
that community center.
Yeah,
Please
that community center wrestling one, dude. Yeah, the local...
Wolf dude.
I forgot all the wrestlers. I just remember the arena, the what do you call it? You're in like a hall. You know what I mean? Like we were in like a. I don't even know what to call it.
I never. There we go. Now I'm in the right zone. Yeah, I never knew I would live down the street from it.
You're
so
right there, man.
I could walk, get hammered, walk home practically.
Yeah, you could easily, and should. Yeah, it's a good time. The fun one about that is I remember my brother told me one night that he heard about a local wrestling thing and he's gonna go, and I was like, oh yeah, it's at the something whatever the place is called, and he was like, nah, it's not it. And I was like, oh, all right, I guess there's this whole local Baltimore local wrestling scene I don't know about, and they go outside of that. And then I'm talking about the one that we'd gone to, and he was like, wait, yeah, that's it. That's the place. And I'm like, yeah, I know. There's just the one.
I mean, I'm pretty sure Ring of Honor, which has now been bought up by AEW, but I mean, it had its little run. I'm pretty sure that as a promotion started, and they did shows around here next to the Skateland in Dundalk.
Oh wow!
And there's warehouses that are right next to it.
It makes sense that AEW would go after stuff like that to try and slowly grow, right?
Oh well, no, Ring of Honor turned into a whole thing. It got not a huge TV deal, but it had some TV deals. It had a pay-per-view scene. But I'm saying in its early days, I think it was doing shows out of there.
Yeah, I mean,
on the indie scene.
Start somewhere. If people show up, I mean, we were at that one, and even though it's local, it's not the talent of the WWE. You still had people with, there was a crowd, people with shirts, people with posters for their favorite dudes. It's pretty good. Wrestling is a spectacle. And that's why we're talking about it today on episode 658 with WWE SmackDown vs. Raw 2007, developed by Ukes, published by THQ. Released on the PlayStation 2 and Xbox 360, with a PSP version a month after. First released in North America, November 14th, 2006. Back of the box. Don't just watch it. Live it. Experience the thrill of being a WWE superstar like never before, in and beyond the ring. All new analog control system makes gameplay more realistic and intuitive than ever. New environmental hotspots use steel steps, ring posts, and any object available to inflict damage on opponents in and out of the ring. Ultimate control moves take the power of WWE superstars into your own hands with new levels of choice and control. New interactive fighting area within the crowd. Battle beyond the ring. And feel the intensity of a WWE event. Grab weapons and other items from fans to take the action to the next level. The next generation of WWE video games is here. Real-life 3D facial scans, enhanced online multiplayer gameplay with voice chat, expanded season and GM modes, updated WWE superstar rosters, and WWE legends, and much more. This is a jam-packed release. The back of the box had anything to say about it. We're going to dive into a lot of it. There's a lot of modes within the game. There's a lot of wrestling game here. For sure. Before we jump into it, this is SmackDown vs. Raw 2007, which implies this is a series. I guess to back up, what are SmackDown, what is Raw? What are SmackDown and Raw?
Those are the two weekly TV shows in the WWE. They have, I guess Raw's always been on Monday night.
Yes.
Now, what TV channel in the last 25 years varies depending on the year. SmackDown used to be on Thursdays, now on Fridays.
Ooh.
But also depending on what year, what TV channel is it on, also changed hands a lot. But those are the two weekly TV deals. And I guess a little history lesson for WWE in case you don't know, I should say. When they had the two shows, between the two TV shows and then the house shows, and then the pay-per-views is just a lot of traveling, a lot of wear and tear on the body, constantly taking slams and bumps and stuff like that. So at one point, I guess I don't know the whole history, but I guess creatively and to strategize and keep the roster fresh and I guess try to get more roster involved, they would do brand splits and then they would do these drafts, and then you would be a Raw superstar or a SmackDown superstar. And then depending on the year, there would be they will alternate Raw pay-per-views versus SmackDown pay-per-views. But then, SummerSlam would incorporate, the Big Four, Survivor Series, SummerSlam, Royal Rumble, and WrestleMania would combine both brands to have matches from both, or against each other, I guess, in some cases. And they did that to try to, again, grow the roster, grow talent, not have as much travel in the schedule, or as many dates as they say for the superstars to make. So that is why you kind of little history in SmackDown and Raw and how you kind of get to these games labeled SmackDown versus Raw.
Had you played this one or others in the SmackDown vs. Raw series?
So not SmackDown vs. Raw, but I believe the lineage because, and I forgot to do the actual homework on this like I said I would, the lineage of this developer is the WWF SmackDown games on PlayStation. So I technically...
Yeah.
So I have technically played SmackDown, SmackDown 2, Know Your Role. I played SmackDown. I guess I played all of them up until SmackDown vs. Raw. Just Bring It, Shut Your Mouth, and Here Comes the Pain. And then for some reason I skipped the entire SmackDown vs. Raw series. Don't know how that happened.
So you hadn't played this one before this episode?
No.
Aha.
No.
Fun. Yeah, this Yuke's, the developer, they stayed on the series all the way up until 2K 2019. And then they're now the AEW developers under THQ Nordic as a publisher. So jot that down. Before we jump into those things, you selected this for the podcast this year. Why this version of the game? What made this stand out to you before jumping into it?
So, because I've skipped the entire SmackDown vs. Raw series, I have skipped and have missed out on the very, very popular and always demanded in the current games, GM mode, where you get to play general manager for one of the shows and compete for ratings and I guess eventually money to keep your show as the superior show for the eyeballs against the other brand. Again, depending on which was like a real thing around this time in this era. It was like a story thing. So that's why. In 2007, I kind of just did a little bit of Reddit detective work, and it seemed like 2007 is highly regarded as kind of like the peak of all of this.
Okay.
I do know 2008 gets a little bit complicated because that's when the ECW stuff starts to get more mixed in. And so they bring in like the ECW brand as a third brand to potentially play as.
Oh, yeah, it's literally on the cover.
Huh. So I kind of wanted to not have to deal. A little focus.
Well, it does seem like, I read the manual in the lead up to playing this, and I mean, it's on the back of the box too, but there's so many things they added to this with the hotspots, the controls got a big overhaul this year. Like, this was also, I believe, the first one on 360, so the first entry into the next generation. Like, it does seem like a major shift, and unlike some of the transitions we would see with other sports titles where, they lose features going in. It seems like this kind of gained a lot going into the new generation. Do you know when they kind of stopped doing the GM stuff? You said this was a highly requested mode.
I think when they rebranded from SmackDown vs. Raw to just like WWE, well, I guess the first one's 12, then 13, then 14. I have played 13, and I know it does not have it.
Yeah.
So I'm going to assume that 12
probably doesn't. Yeah.
Yes. It looks like 12 does not have it. So I'm going to assume SmackDown vs. Raw 2011 was maybe the last one with it.
That makes sense.
Or maybe I'm wrong.
It was the last one that came out on PSP. I'll tell you that much. We never got a Vita version of any of these. Or 3DS. Or they skipped Wii U entirely. They hung out on the Wii for quite a while, and they didn't even bother. Bizarre. What's your bar for wrestling games?
In terms of like the
creme de la creme? Just, I guess whenever you sit down and you play a new wrestling game, if you get the itch to play one, whether it's for this or, one hits a deep discount sale, when you fire it up, what's your gut reaction of like, ugh, this doesn't feel like...
No Mercy.
Okay. That makes sense.
That
makes sense.
I mean, but the thing, the thing, it doesn't have to be No Mercy, because like I like the SmackDown games, and that series or those games are just play completely different than No Mercy.
Yeah.
I just like a simple enough control scheme that has the buttons to do some interesting things if you know how to do it, but isn't like necessary and is not a fucking math equation to get a grapple off.
Yeah, I get that.
I think that's like usually like the key thing that is like make or break on some of these games, or in my personal experiences with them. So, I mean, yes, like I said, and I think I even put in my review for this, like, No Mercy's my bar. It always will be, but like there are other good wrestling games throughout. They exist.
Yeah. We had some fun. We've had a long history of wrestling on the show, or on the website and everything. No Mercy we ranked on episode 447. Of course, back in the long ago when we would do things in person. We had 11 is what I'm seeing here. 11 different free cheese wrestling videos that we did. We did all of those over the course of a year.
Yeah.
Wow. We were really...
I found that document. I found it a couple... I think when I was making my move to the Mac Mini, I found that document. Yeah, we did that over 11 months, but I knew the whole storyline 4 months into it.
I think we still have opportunity. But yeah, if you want to go watch a solid season of wrestling, we've got everything from Elimination Chamber to and Matt came up with all sort of stuff.
Yeah, we pivoted off the the WWE names quickly.
Yeah.
All leading up to the Intergalactic, TI.
All the way to the Intergalactic, yeah. We had a Halloween event that was really good, too. We had a good...
What did we name Halloween? I forget.
House Show Massacre.
Oh,
those are all over on... they're on the freecheese.com. If you go to the freecheese.com/shows, I believe is the URL. It is. The freecheese.com/shows. Free Cheese Wrestling's right at the top. I'll try to remember to leave a link there as well. But yeah, we've got video of us. Matt put together these wild matches of just all
Fever Dream
nightmare characters. Yeah, there's all sorts of stuff. Video game characters. Oh my gosh, my hair's all short. I'm going down a hole here. I gotta get out. Anyway, yeah, you can see all that. That's fun. We had a good time with those. Anyway, wrestling's been a fun part of the freecheese.com through the years. So I was, while I'm not super into wrestling generally, and I don't keep up with it, something like this getting added to the list is more of a, ooh, cool. What's this one? You know what I mean? Rather than a lamentation like you might see out of a, hey, we're going to play Echo the Dolphin. All right, last question before we jump into gameplay. Which platform did you play for this?
PS2.
We both did PS2. I don't think there were any differences that I saw, but I didn't really dig for that. I believe we had everything we were supposed to have.
Yeah, I touched the PlayStation Portable 1 for all of like 15 minutes on a flight way back like last year.
Yeah.
And the GM mode, from what I remember, lined up pretty closely.
Wow. Okay.
Now this is just simulation stuff, so I can't talk about the in-game stuff, but the menus and the options, from what I remember, it seemed close.
That's pretty good. I would have figured they cut that right away for the PSP version.
No, it definitely had GM mode. I'm just like in terms of just like the options in GM mode, I'm pretty sure they were all there.
I want to spend probably a good bit talking about GM mode later on. before we get there, let's talk about the core wrestling. Because if someone bought this just to control wrestlers and wrestle, how do you think it is in this game? Is it good? How does it compare to the other games in the series?
I think it's good. They do the grappling like kind of sort of like No Mercy, where you get into a grapple and then you have to execute the move off the grapple.
Yeah.
And then because of that, there is the there is your standard grapple and your heavy grapple that ropes off and trees off into different move sets. Higher risk and whatever, with opportunities for reversals within them. I like the 2-button reversal system in this game, so that way you're not just mashing like one button and getting lucky. Like you have to kind of like anticipate a strike versus a grapple. If you get good at that, you'll get good at it. But there is a little bit more of a learning curve than just mashing the same button over and over. So yeah, I would say in terms of like the wrestling and the buttons, I had a good time with it. Now, as someone that has played a numerous of these types of titles, I'm curious what you thought of the controls.
It felt like I expected it to feel. You know what I mean? Like, it's not perfect, but there weren't many moments where I was like, ugh, what are we doing? Sometimes you go back to a PS2 era game and there's just little things. We just played something, I feel. Blood Rain maybe was one of them. Where like just a little, James Bond, Agent Under Fire. Like just a thing where it's like, yeah, it almost works, but like my muscle memory from current games is throwing me off here. Like I didn't have that at all, other than like the occasional little thing where like I just did something and it didn't, like, oh, I gotta, there's a little bit more like intentionality between not just the grapples, but like the moves. There's a little bit of awkward, like clipping, for lack of it, not clipping in the like visual sense, graphic sense, but like, yeah, just like your models kind of like sometimes don't always line up. You go to do something and like, I'm aiming for this. I'm at the top of this ladder. I'm aiming. I got him. I know what I've got to do. And then, no, I'm over there. I hit the ground and now he's climbing out to hit me with the ladder.
Lining up a ladder for a ladder match was interesting. One of my favorite things, this is just something because I have countless hours playing the first 2 SmackDowns on PlayStation 1. I love having an eye for the move animations that have not changed since PlayStation 1.
Yeah.
And the other ones that clearly have a lot more detail because they're on a PlayStation 2.
Yeah. Well, man, if you get it right, why mess with it? Yeah, I had a good, like, everything felt good. Admittedly, I did spend the bulk of my time in this with GM mode. So there were only a few times in GM mode where I took control. Did a lot of watching the matches, or depending on the week and the matchups and stuff, just simulate. But no, I was. This feels solid to go back to. I feel like if you're in a random flea market or a game store and you just really want a wrestling game and you found this for a couple bucks, you wouldn't, other than the roster maybe being a little weird, but there's a great character creation. You can make whoever you want, and you can design everything, like you can design their entrance stuff. You can, yeah. I guess with the roster, how is it comparatively? I guess at the time, are you a SmackDown guy, a Raw guy, or has that changed?
I don't think I'm watching that much wrestling at this era of my life, and that's probably why I don't play these games. I'm probably around the time that I stopped watching. So for me, I think this roster just overall is a little weak. Now, like, you do have some of the unlockables, like The Rock and Stone Cold are behind unlocks. I think Hulk Hogan is behind an unlock. Like, you get your legends, and you get to flesh out some of that roster if you play it the right way. But, like, I looked up how to get Stone Cold. and then I realized like, oh, that is a whole thing. Okay.
Yeah.
So like again, they're behind unlocks. Like the core roster though, it has your Triple H, it has Batista, it has Cena, but like I don't know, it just Kane Taker, like it has people, and I feel like, but like the mid card falls away from me quickly. And
dude, there were so many people in this game where I was like, who? And
yeah.
And he has like a 90 rating, and like that seemed odd to me. Like, even though I wasn't watching it or keeping up with it, I had enough friends who kept up with this stuff through so many eras that like I was exposed to enough people. Like, and some of these names, like I totally missed Rey Mysterio, like when I was actively like watching it or seeing it, but like I knew who he was. Even John Cena, I wasn't watching when John Cena had come on the scene, or if he had, I didn't realize it. But obviously, you know who he is. Some of these, though, like I think I wrote one down. No, maybe I didn't. I thought I had a thing that was like, "Who is so and so?" But yeah, I don't see it. But there was somebody that like kept getting like auto suggested for my matchups, and he was just like he had a high ranking, like popularity with people, and I'm like, I don't know this dude.
Carlito?
So, yeah, sorry. No, I definitely didn't recognize him, but
yeah, okay. But yeah, I don't know. This is a weird, like there's also issues with this roster. If you know the history, obviously there's one character that is it just part of the time, and it was a huge mega superstar. Then events happen. It's just unfortunate. You kind of can't erase a PlayStation 2 disc. You can't patch it.
Yeah.
But like, besides the obvious one, but like this is like Kurt Angle's, like he's on fucking painkillers all the time, years.
Right.
Like you got like that going on. Like there's some awkward stuff too. Like there's Matt Hardy, but Jeff Hardy's not in the game because I think he's already moved on to TNA at this point. And then also in TNA he can't stay sober because again he's taking too many painkillers. Like this is a weird
How much of
time
that
in
stuff
wrestling.
Is real versus
that was
storyline.
No, that would real. For Jeff Hardy,
for him,
real, very
what
real.
What about Kurt Angle? Was that?
Oh, that wasn't like a storyline thing. That was just like now we know why he is so fucked up.
I thought that was the case, but it's been yeah. I'm in and out of it where you never know how much of it's. Got it, man. What a.
Yeah, but like you got some of that going on, but yeah, I think my main problem with this is like if I were to go back to like a No Mercy or whatever, like I would see names and be like, oh, I haven't seen that name, forgot that was a wrestler, but I will remember it because I was watching it and they were like part of the earlier mid card. This because I'm not watching, I have no idea. I'm looking at the roster. I have no idea who this guy's Psychosis is. Never heard of him. Don't know him. And he's in this roster.
Oh, yeah. No. yeah, there's a lot of that. I mean, I obviously had a lot of that in this, but yeah, I wish I could find that one dude that I was just like, who? Anyway. Finley, maybe? Nah, I don't know. Either way. Definitely an odd one. I want to talk about modes in the game. You've got your general exhibition. Jump in, play a match, pick a side, or pick a character and play. You have pay-per-view, general manager mode, and then season as well. You have create modes where you can create a superstar, you can create a moveset, create an entrance, you can create a stable of superstars, and then you can create a championship, design your own thing. And then there's the game also has a locker room where you can view the trophies, belts, and different tags or titles you've received within the game. There's also online mode, which I imagine neither of us got to experience. But probably. I don't know how it was back in the day. I feel like I remember having friends playing this on 360 online, but I don't know. I might be misremembering. Outside of GM mode, was there anything that you kind of poked around with or spent any significant time doing?
I played a few of the storylines of season mode.
Did any of that get interested? Did it
It was wrestling storylines. It the nice thing was if you pick the Raw Superstar, there were Raw specific storylines, and if you pick the SmackDown Superstar, there were very SmackDown specific storylines. And then some of them were more exclusive to different characters. So yeah, there was I think there's like 13 or so different segments of the story mode. There's story mode stuff. It's wrestling. It gets weird. But my favorite part about the season mode stuff, I didn't realize this game had it. There's voice acting.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of voice acting in this.
Yeah, and there are some recent ones that don't have it.
Doesn't surprise me.
So yeah, no, I just going back in time. I was just like, oh, all right, we're back. We're still doing voice acting. All right, cool.
Yeah, we got people. With create mode, did you do anything in there at all?
I didn't poke around in create mode. I kind of figured.
Yeah,
I feel like I've seen those before.
You've spent plenty of time in create. I know in other games. I just got lost in making a character. I never do this. Like, when people like get Bloodborne for the first time and they're like, look at my dumb character. And they just like go crazy with the sliders and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
I was listening to a podcast when I was kind of running some of the random, what do you call it? GM stuff. And then kind of like got my fill for that session of GM stuff and wanted to take a break, go play something else. But as I backed out, I started poking around the menus and I was like, I'll make a wrestler real quick. And I ended up just like getting lost listening to the podcast and just moving stuff around. I made the dumbest looking character with like awful makeup that made it look like horrifying, like just terrible looking eyes, like just a disgusting thing. And then just kind of turned off the PS2 and didn't save it, didn't do anything with it. Just one of those things where I like had fun messing around with it and then moved on. But overall, yeah, it's this kind of stuff I think that makes a wrestling game in particular really exciting for someone playing it, because you see all that stuff when you're watching the stuff on TV and you're like, man, especially when you're a kid and you're like, oh, I wish I could do this, or I want to be this, or I've got an idea for a wrestler, my little whatever. You can bring all of that stuff to life with this, which is really cool. Or if you want to get into shenanigans, you can do that as well. GM mode?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, that was, I spent the most of my time with this game in GM mode. Really love so for that, I picked Raw, because they force you to pick a side. I picked Raw. What did you pick?
Probably Raw.
I
don't remember, but probably Raw.
I think I only did it because it had... Yeah, Big Show was on Raw.
Oh, so you didn't draft?
I don't know. I don't remember drafting.
Oh. You didn't pick like 10 superstars at the start of your mode? You just kind of went into it?
No, and I did have a really tough time like getting into GM mode. Like, and like starting to go through like setting your cards. Did you have that where like, what was it? The Heat, I think, was the I couldn't figure out how to advance. And I'm like, what am I doing wrong? I kept having to like, eventually I got there. I realized like you need to like set everything, and it's only on the Heat was like a bonus match or something.
Yes.
And then you switch to your actual thing, and then you can apply. Yeah.
So SmackDown has velocity at this point.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I don't remember drafting anybody and looking at kind of who's on these cards or who's on this roster here. I feel like that's a lot of the names I was seeing pop up in my.
All right, so if you choose the other option instead of using existing current rosters, you can do the draft, which is a thing they usually do once a year, well as like a TV, like on the TV shows to do the things, and you kind of go back and forth picking your roster with the computer.
Oh, I probably should have done. Was I supposed to do that for this episode? Was that part of the fun?
I mean, it was part of my fun because I was like, when you get to like the 5th round and like the obvious superstars are gone, like Triple H, Kurt Angle, John Cena, like after 6 picks, your main card attractions are kind of gone. So when you get to 4 and 5, you start thinking, who can I get the feud with pick 1? Who can I get the feud with pick 3? And then you kind of start building out the roster, and you're like, all right, who's the up-and-comer? Who's the old grizzly vet that can get to take a couple dog losses to build up someone? My fantasy booking brain started firing off, and yeah, that's how I got my. That's why I couldn't tell you if I was on Raw or SmackDown, because I literally couldn't remember.
Yeah, it doesn't. Yeah. No, I definitely didn't do that because I think when I saw the option to create a draft or create a roster, or whatever, I was like, no, I'll use what's in here. Like I think I misinterpreted that. So yeah, all right. Well, yeah, I was definitely Raw, and I just kind of ran with that. The game does a really good job. If you've not played this one, it does a great job of like showing you the calendar of events. You can see sort of how everything's mapped out. I'm pretty sure you can just do a single match as your show, and that's it if you really wanted to.
You can.
But you can go, I think it's up to 5 for your main like thing. Depending on the week, there's opportunities for little like promos or things like that. So basically every time you build out your show schedule, it's like you choose from matchups, and depending on the matchups or the match type, it costs you more money to put on that show. And then you can also use some of those little in-between slots to do an ad for a specific thing or something else to kind of get some money back, at least like for the next week's show. I really liked when you kind of first get into the GM mode. They give you like the whole UI rules. It's like such of the era. It felt like exactly 2007. I remember my first thing, because I bumbled my way through like getting it set up. I accidentally simulated everything. I meant to just simulate like one of them, and then I was gonna like play out the final one, like physically control it. And I simulated everything for my first show, and I was like, whoops. But then they throw you after the results into this fake website that's like, I imagine it mimics what WWE.com
used to look like that. Yep.
But like, you just get that screen and you get a full breakdown of the results. Which match was the like big shakeup of the night before. It was really cool. And I wrote down, like, I really wish PS2 had screen recording or screenshot capability, because there's so many little things with that, but also with the matches themselves that I was like, oh, this would have been good to have.
Yeah, and like, not to double down on the website, but they did, like, it lived up totally to the, like, wrestling will break that line until it decides it doesn't want to, then it'll hold kayfabe. Like, there are 4 things you can select on the website, and like 2 of them are like, the ratings for SmackDown are through the roof. Real. But then it's like, Shawn Michaels pulls off big upset against William Regal. You're like, what? Yep, of course, because that's the real story. Yeah.
Yes. Totally, fully, yeah. Yeah, other than that, I mean, so the one thing, I had a note question. When you start your GM mode, you get like a an introduction to how important it is to be a GM by Vince McMahon. It's been a long time. Was that actually his voice? I don't remember what he sounds like.
I don't think that was him.
It didn't seem like it to me, but I was like, maybe I'm just out of touch.
It could be that, because I haven't heard his voice in quite a while either. Not as long as you, but still quite a while. I don't think that was him. I don't think a lot of those voice actors, those wrestlers were themselves either.
I can see that. I'm gonna double check on the. Yeah, I don't see anything.
And that was him. He needs a better voice director. Well, I guess what fucking voice director wants to boss this man around in a recording booth? Just one take, Mr. McMahon. All right, thank you. Move on with your day now.
Yeah. It says that some, at least in the season mode, some of the voice talent include The Undertaker, Shawn Michaels, Kane, and Kurt Angle. So some of them, but maybe not all.
Okay.
Yeah, not sure. I don't know. For me, part of GM mode was the spectacle of watching wrestling again. Like, I really kind of treated it like that, where I just was like, I'd play a couple matches just for fun, but really it was like, let me sit back and I'm going to cue these two things up. I'm going to watch the drama unfold and see how this stuff plays out and go from there. How did you approach it?
I probably took it too seriously. So I did a lot of simulate. I really didn't do a lot of watching or playing or whatever. But like from the start, and you kind of heard me talking about this from the draft, I'm like looking at their contracts. I'm looking at where rivalries can go. I'm looking at the fucking writers you can hire and see what storylines make sense for a Triple H and Randy Orton fucking feud, and how long we can drag that out. Like, where can I get this to SummerSlam? We're starting in January, by the way. Can I get this to SummerSlam with their contracts? Can I, what's a good holdover feud for a month? Oh, we'll do Kane Taker, easy peasy. That would be a pay-per-view, a mid-card without a title involved, where I can get away with it. So I was like mapping out that stuff with their contracts, and then keeping an eye on the talent pool as talent would be released from the other end, or free agents would come about. I was trying my damnedest to grow like my mid-card up. I could never pull it off. I wasn't that good. But I had a lot of fun mapping out the rivalries or the feuds, picking like appropriate ones, and then just kind of monitoring their contract situation and trying to get them out of a feud at the end of their contract in case I didn't want to renew them, or I didn't have enough money, one of the two.
How much of your free cheese wrestling planning really helped you here in this?
I feel, I mean, it helped to an extent, but I feel like I've been fantasy booking since like a kid. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
So it's how much of that, as I've been watching this as a kid, grow up, or translate to this.
Did you have any good like standout matchups that were like, this happened?
Again, without really watching and a lot of simulating, I don't remember, and I didn't make any good notes, but I know like I didn't crown, and it was probably to my detriment because I was getting hurt in the ratings, but to my detriment, I wasn't doing I didn't have a champion for a while. It was 2 months, and I was having like this big tournament kind of thing to get to a championship match on one of the pay-per-views. And I kind of going through the tournament. I think Edge ended up being my champion to start off things, which was interesting. But no, I was trying to do weird pairings too. Like I was trying to put like a quote diva like with Taker to do like a weird like Taker never has like anything like that ever. So I was trying to do something weird with Taker and a feud with someone just to shake things up, like a Taker stalker angle. Like, sure, we'll do. Yeah, you know, I did dumb things like that, but I did not jot down anything memorable. At least not in that department, I should say.
Yeah. Oh, you've got others. My first champion was the one and only Nature Boy himself. Did not plan on it. Like, I was just kind of letting things roll and seeing how it happened, and I was trying to, because the only real person of this era, again, not watching it then, but seeing him now as like Peacemaker and stuff, is John Cena. So I was like, all right. And John Cena for this era, to me, like, basically from when I stopped watching wrestling in, like, I don't know, 99, 2000, up through forever, to me, John Cena was like the guy. Like, I feel like every time I'd go out in public and I'd see someone with like a wrestling t-shirt on, like, it's Cena's face. So for me to see his like rating, I don't remember what it was, but it was pretty low. And every time I'd like put him into matchups, it seemed like it would always favor somebody else in the simulation. But I tried to like manipulate things. I was putting him against people he was way better than and stuff like that, and so it kind of worked a little bit. And then the championship, it was just like, nope, it's Ric Flair.
Yeah, I don't know if Cena's still in his Thugonomics era, or if he has fully switched to like, you can't see me, salute everyone, lol, Cena wins, because that is a real thing. Lol, Cena wins. Yeah. That was during his build-up. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not crazy. I'm looking at this. It says, yeah, he was a face from 2003 to 2025, the longest continuous portrayal of a heroic character in WWE history. And he's got 14-time WWE championship, et cetera, et cetera. To me, it just seemed odd that he wasn't. But
yeah.
Anywho, what other interesting shakeups did you have in terms of? You alluded to some sort of fun.
Oh, I was gonna wait to the sound department.
Oh, okay. We'll wait for that. Is there anything else gameplay wise you want to hit on?
Just one thing. I feel like there is a hidden comeback mechanic for the computer, because there are just times where I am dominating a match, one reversal, and there is a whole swing of like I can't get anything off.
I think that's
Yeah, I did notice that, because I didn't really play a lot in GM mode per se, but I did play in season mode, and there was some like season like what are we doing? And I can't get anything off.
That was my thing with Cena, where I was trying to push him along to winning. I was controlling some of those, and I was like, all right, I'm doing terrible at this. I'm not winning this stuff, and I'm never great at these anyway. Like, I remember that from when we did Free Cheese Wrestling. Before we moved to just watching the matches, CPU controlled, like I was never great. So I thought it was me, but then the simulation still had him losing over and over again. But I hadn't thought about that. That's a good point. Like there's something to make the match last longer, or
it has to.
Yeah, keep you on the hook.
But that's it. I mean, that was the only thing gameplay wise.
For me, like the stuff that stood out was only after like reading it in the manual that they were even in there, because the stuff like the hotspots in the arena, the fact that you can go out and do some crowd stuff, to me it's kind of like mainstays. But the fact that this was like the first one that did it makes this a little impressive to me. But with visuals, are we at a stage in this game where people look like people? You feel like?
I think so for the most part. I think this looks pretty good for a PS2 game myself as well.
Yeah, I agree. I bet it looks better on 360, but still looked pretty good. I was not nothing about it. I was never like, oof, but it looked good. I think it ran well. I didn't get much like clipping or anything like that. Again, there were some of those weird like jankiness to some of the movements of the characters where like you could tell they're like locked into an animation but then change, but nothing crazy.
I'll mention again, like I have an eye for the PlayStation 1 animation moves. Like you can just tell, like I think they hit all the frames in the animation on the PlayStation 2, but you can tell it was made with less frames in mind in the animation.
Mm-hmm.
Again, it doesn't stick out like a sore thumb, but if you remember it, you're like, oh,
follow the
oh shit, that's the animation from SmackDown 1.
I love that they kept that stuff. There's that kind of lineage in that way. Background animations, crowd stuff. I felt like the crowd was a little... I don't expect much, but yeah, every now and then when I would like pay attention to the crowd, which I really only noticed whenever it was like simulation matches that were like kind of in a boring spot where like they're climbing up the ladder and just sort of like not doing anything. And I'm like looking around for anything else to catch my eye. And yeah, you notice the crowd's a little...
Ooh. I'm sorry, I forgot one more thing in gameplay. I do not like the fatigue engine.
No, not at all. That didn't...
And I think that's like newer in this game. If not new to this game, newer in this series. I never dealt with that in the older ones.
Yeah, I would just...
That is an annoying thing.
I'd push them to the limit. Hence why Cena never got a championship. But, yeah, no, the good call out.
Cena's already tired.
He's tired.
Different timeline.
He was tired pretty quick. Like, by our second pay-per-view, I think it was like, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, anything else visually stand out to you? I think, again, the presentation's kind of interesting. Some of the stuff in the background, or not the background, like the menu design, like the website thing was really neat. You have a cell or a Palm Pilot. What do you have with your email on it?
Oh, yeah, one of them. Yeah.
Yeah. That was pretty fun.
Oh, and you walk around, like, you had the opportunity to walk around, like, you had mentioned the house thing, but you walk around in first person, much like throwing back to the ESPN 2K4 first person mode. Yeah.
Felt a lot like that. I think I didn't write it down, but I remember thinking it like, this feels very reminiscent of that. There's a good, like, I don't know, like, porno from the 90s kind of opening video, like the attract mode when it plays or whatever, like introducing it is just like, ooh, man, this is dated. It's one of those things where like you think 2007 was like, we're really far from the 90s, but like you're not at all.
Yeah, no, anything WWE and they're still branding the women as divas, you're in for it.
Yeah. Which that you could mix divas and superstars were... Is that?
Yeah, so you could wrestle them. In this game, you could.
No, I know that, but like in real life, they do that now, but they didn't always, right?
What, separate like the women and men?
Yeah.
Like from wrestling each other? Yeah, they did that more so recently. There have been like different storylines though, where there's been like a mixed tag match kind of situation.
Yeah.
It's very few and far between, but yeah, there's not a lot of like man hitting woman in a wrestling ring anymore. Like there probably was during this era.
Yeah. But there was a ton of this where it was just like, nah, this is gonna be Trish versus Big Show.
Kane, yeah.
Just like, okay, I guess so. On the sound side of things, there's usually two options for commentators, right? You had your...
Yeah, I guess. Yep. Yeah, Taz and Cole, Michael Cole, and probably on the call on SmackDown, and JR and the King, Jerry Lawler.
The King. Yeah. they were pretty accurate from my recollection, but I mean, did they fit?
Yeah,
Did it feel?
Yeah, I mean, it's good to get for a video game. It's one of those things where once you put in enough hours, you're going to hear Taz say the same thing over and over about being able to take a bump, and it's like, okay, all right, I get it.
Yeah.
But that goes to any of, like, you play FIFA long enough, you
yeah.
play NHL long enough, Madden, like, you will get the same piped lines.
You watch real sports long enough, you'll hear the same pipe.
That's actually very true, yes.
Yeah. Yeah, very much so. Yeah, the only other note I had on sound or question around sound was, did they actually get any wrestlers in the booth, and was that actually Vince? But we covered that stuff already. You had some shenanigans on music or on
no,
sound,
not
sorry.
shenanigans. No, it was on the music
Yeah.
side.
Yeah.
You can lead.
No, that's my first note. Like, whenever I sit down with a game for the podcast, I make a note for this, because that eventually turns into our outline. But the very beginning of it is always a small subsection called notes, and it's the stuff I jot down while I'm playing that's just really quick. And the literal first word below the word notes is soundtrack, because right off the jump, it was like, oh, wow, okay. This is the era.
Nope.
Did they have multiple 3 Days Grace songs, or?
Yep. So that was my thing. So my first couple notes here, immediately at the teaser, like the show entrance, like thing that they show, I mentioned, I was like, oh my god, my childhood came flooding back immediately. And then next notice, oh my god, of course, Godsmack is on the soundtrack.
Yeah.
Third note, oh yikes, forgot about Benoit. Fourth note, 3 Days Grace again.
Yeah, I was really like, because at one point I was in a menu and it was 3 Days Grace, and I was like, oh, I forgot that band ever existed. Like, truly, like, and I'm like having flashback. I'm like, all right, whatever. Move on. Keep playing. A little while later, I come back to the menu and I'm like, dang, is this soundtrack like that limited that I'm already looping back, or is the randomization of this stuff off? And I'm like, the song sounds kind of different, but maybe it's the same. And yeah, there you go.
No, I had the honor of getting 3 Days Grace, the two different songs twice in a row.
That's brutal.
I actually kind of liked 3 Days Grace growing up. Can't say I will listen to them now, but I did listen to them growing up.
I remember them. I never went out of my way for them, but SmackDown versus Raw 2007 sure did.
Oh, okay. So they weren't the only repeating band. I just didn't recognize. I don't know the Non-Point. I don't know them.
No,
Yeah, Non-Point on this. They have two songs on the soundtrack as well, but I don't know them, so I would have made sense.
Wild.
I didn't recognize it.
Yeah. Gosh, well, the one dude, the 3 Days Grace, there's like such a distinct vocal sound that, yeah, it kind of, once I heard it, you hear it twice or whatever, it stands out. All right, I guess before we rank this thing, couple of closing questions. Did you like WWE SmackDown versus Raw 2007?
I did. It brought back some good times. Oh, shoot.
I agree. Like I had a good time playing it. I was it's just like sometimes like anything, like any even if you're not into a sport or whatever, you can still have fun with a sport game. Like, I actively loathe golf, but I love golf video games. And did I say golf? Golf video games. I will play them forever. Like, even right now, just I'm like, I should probably go play Hot Shots on my Vita. But yeah, I think they're fun. I think people like who don't care about wrestling, who hate wrestling, could still have fun with this to an extent. Because it's fun to, like, there's a lot of intricacies in the controls, the combat system, like there's stuff to learn, and I think they built a really interesting game here. I think it leans well into the license that they're given. And I think they give you a lot of options for different gameplay styles. Like, whatever you kind of want out of wrestling, you can get out of this game. It's pretty good. What do you think that this game does best that people would miss out on by not playing it?
I would say the GM mode stuff. I think that's a well put together mode that I don't think you're getting the... You might be getting it nowadays, but I don't think it's the same.
I get that.
I don't know. I haven't played the last couple of WWE games, so I don't want to stick to that point because I could be very wrong. I do think they brought it back in a way. I just don't know how.
Yeah, what deal? Do you think this holds up? Like, is there anything about this where you're like, this kind of sucks?
Benoit.
Well, I meant gameplay wise, but yeah. Yeah, that one doesn't help.
Gameplay, I don't know. I don't think so. Gameplay wise. Well, I think it's just in its own era. I think you just have to be like, it's a PS2 game, so like you've mentioned a couple of times, like the animation clipping and the idea is cool in theory for that match type, but like it doesn't just play out well like you want it to.
Not always, yeah.
But no, besides that, I think it's a solid package.
I do too. Yeah, I think this is you're into wrestling, I think easily grab this. If you're not into wrestling, but you're like intrigued by it, or you've had fun with wrestling in the past, or if you just like, look, I know Tomodachi Life is the like hot new thing right now. Let's see how this. Let me make Miyamoto and my best friend and my second grade teacher and like a block of cheese all live in a house together. But like, what if you did that and they were all wrestling together? You could do it for $5 instead of however much Tomodachi Life is. Matt, it's time we rank WWE SmackDown versus Raw 2007 on the list. You can find all of the games we've ranked over at thefreecheese.com/thelist. WWE SmackDown versus Raw 2007 marks our 180th game on the list. I do not remember who went first last time, so I will elect to go first this time, unless you feel strongly otherwise.
No.
I feel like I kind of looked in a couple of spots and then kept moving. You know what I mean? And where I landed was 104. Below D2 and above Incredible Crisis.
Okay. Yeah, I'm looking. I don't know why I didn't go there. My ranking was the new 124 between MLB Slugfest 2004 and Daikatana.
You thought Daikatana was better than
Daikatana on the patch. Remember,
with the patch, Daikatana.
We played Daikatana with a good patch.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, but I like you was not. I'm like I didn't. There's times where I throw out a number. I'm like, this is it.
Yeah.
This is it. I never think like, oh man, I'm gonna convince Joe, but like this is my definitive bang. There's been other times where I'm like, it's somewhere around here. This one, I'm like you. I kind of like, I land in a spot and I'm like, don't like it here. And I land in don't like it here, and I kind of just like kept falling until I've got here. But I might have skipped the 100 teens because I'm like looking there and I'm like, yeah, they might better all this.
Yeah, like I like Anthem a lot, but like just kind of pulling back at the core of what this game is, I think this game does everything that it sets out to do very, very well. I think for me, like, if this game were like a raw objective list, this would probably be a much higher game. But when you bring subjectivity into it, and of course you have to, and it's just sort of like, what would I rather play? This kind of fell a bit. It moves some spots around. Obviously, there's always, yeah.
I think I got to like Amplitude, and I was like, I think I like Amplitude a lot better, or at least I don't think Amplitude necessarily is the better game, but just like I'd rather pick up and play Amplitude again. But
yeah,
I don't think I don't think that necessarily has to be the case. I kind of don't care coming up to you. Amplitude is 117.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, well, let's think through this, right? Like, we're climbing up from where you're at. You got Little Big Planet, which was great, but offline it's tough to, vouch for. I guess the same could be said for Anthem now that it's offline. I think this is stronger than Zillion. Zillion had some rough spots.
I'm literally fine coming all the way up to you.
All right, yeah. I think we both struggle with Endless Ocean in similar fashion. And yeah, Incredible Crisis, I gave this the edge over that really just because there's a couple moments in Incredible Crisis that were really frustrating. And it just felt like, if you'd only polished it a bit more. And that was the part for me where, like, I feel like this game's pretty polished. I think they did a pretty good job at getting this one out the door. So you take into consideration the other fact that there's so many new things added to this one. I think that gives this one a strong edge, just historically speaking. And the fact that this was PS2, a 360, it was meant to be a PS3 game, but they canceled that version. But yeah, I think decent. SmackDown versus Raw. 2007. What a year, they say. What episode is this? 658? There you have it, folks. Our 180th video game. We'll be back next week for the 181st video game. Tomba on the PS1. You hear the title screen music in your head now? Because I sure do. Yeah, going out on this. Any final thoughts? Anything else to call out on WWE?
No, I just think I just want to keep reiterating, like, the games don't stop at No Mercy. No Mercy, I think, is the bar, but there are plenty of good wrestling games out there.
Yeah, there's a lot. This is one of them. I'll vouch for it as a non-wrestling fan. Also, I'll close by saying, go check out Free Cheese Wrestling, because Matt did a great job with those, and we had a lot of fun putting those together through the years. They were really some of those things, it's like just for the reaction of what we were seeing on the screen. A lot of fun. So yeah, go check that out. Until next time, thank you all for hanging out with us. Thank you, Matt. Thank you, WWE. Bye.